This year the theme is East African entrepreneurs, women-owned businesses. So today you will hear about this wonderful ladies, that their successes and their tips of how to continue getting your businesses. So as a council member, I represent a beautiful, diverse community. But I'll tell you, East African community, it's nothing but wonderful. We are eager to start businesses. We are very successful of what we do. We should be proud ourselves. We are the engine behind the city of Minneapolis. And I'm honored to be your council member, and I can't wait to work with you, and I continue to work with you. I am a huge supporter of small businesses. Small businesses is what move our community forward. And I'm honored to have the mayors come and support us and really have a conversation with us, and he also continue to support the small businesses in here. So hopefully next week or so, as we continue to celebrate Black Business Week, we'll be visiting some of the businesses and highlighting those things. And hopefully Mayor will come with me some of those businesses. One of them is Rebecca Bakery, who started an Ethiopian immigrant family. Him and his wife is very successful, and Seward is glad to have them. So thank you, everyone, and I can't wait to get this going. There you go.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Jamal. So today we're honored to have our mayor, Frey, here with us today, especially on his busy schedule, and we really appreciate your support. Of course, we're highlighting East African women and entrepreneurs. That's been something I know with us, like at Lake Street Council, we've been highlighting all year long, so it really means a lot that you're here to come and support and say a few words. So I'll let you take the floor.
Assalamu alaikum, Mahat Senate. To our Oromo community, Akam Gupta Faea, it's a great honor to be here with all of you. Councilmember Jamal Osman, thank you for your leadership on this particular topic. And right now, we are in the middle of Black Business Week, and we're celebrating the incredible entrepreneurs that we have throughout our city that are adding vibrancy, that are adding economic growth and culture at the same time. And at the forefront of so much of that great work are our East African entrepreneurs that are women. We've seen this again and again, that our East African women, they come to the United States, they settle in Minneapolis. Many are here for many, many generations, even much longer than I've been here, and they've set up incredible businesses. Businesses that add so much to the economic growth that happens here in the city, and their work and their sweat ultimately benefits our city in a great scale. If there's anything that I know about the East African community, it's that they're incredible entrepreneurs, and the kind of perseverance and grit that they show on a daily basis, it amazes me. And so we're here to support you. We're here to support the work that you already have underway. And we want you to open up a business again and again, because if you look at the data, and the data is very clear on this, of all of the demographics out there, it is Black women that are opening more businesses than anybody else. And so if we truly want to realize our full potential here, if we want to access every bit of talent and skill that we have on the table, we need to make sure that, one, we're celebrating incredible Black women-owned businesses. Two, we're making sure to patron those women-owned businesses. And then finally, we need to be celebrating them not just during Black Business Week, not just on this particular day where we're celebrating East African women entrepreneurs, but every single day, whether it's healthcare or food service, whether it's finance or real estate. We have people here that are at the forefront of their particular industry. They need to be helped. They need to be supported. They need to have access to things like city contracts. And that's the direction that we're taking everything right now. So Mahat Senate, thank you. Galatomi, thank you. Thank you so much for your work.
I also see the council president is here to support.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andrea Jenkins, and I am the president of the City Council. So thrilled to serve with Councilmember Osman and to support Black Business Week. And I just really wanted to come over here today just to say congratulations and show my support for this panel of amazing East African women who are doing, I think, incredible work in providing goods and services and resources to our communities. I know that there are so many brilliant Somali women who are having home health care businesses, translation businesses, certainly retail businesses in the malls, etc. And I just saw a woman who just wrote a book about supporting black school teachers right there. So, you know, absolutely. So we have to support our black businesses. As the mayor said, women are our fastest growing business owners in this country and in this city. And so I just want to say congratulations to all of you guys. And the city of Minneapolis is here to stand by you, to support you, to give you, to help provide some of the resources that you need to see your businesses grow. And thrilled to have an opportunity to say hi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Council.
Okay, so now we're gonna get started with our wonderful panelists. You guys, I'm super excited about today's panel, and I just want to give a shout out to every East African entrepreneur, our Oromo community, our Ethiopian community, our Eritrean community, our Somali community. We have some really strong, phenomenal women, and I'm so glad that Minnesota gets to highlight them. But kind of like our mayor said, let's not only highlight and appreciate them today or during Black Business Week, let's continue to support our East African women in everything they do, and not just entrepreneurs. You don't have to be an entrepreneur, but in their career, in their motherhood, in their journeys as a sister, as a daughter. It's very important that we support them. So just wanted to keep that in mind. So let's start off with introductions. I'm going to let these beautiful ladies introduce themselves, because if I go on, I will go on forever because I have so many great things to say about them. But let's go ahead and start with you.
Hi, my name is Ebian. Hi, my name is Ebian. I am the founder and CEO of Faceless Pro. Can you guys hear me? All right. Hi, my name is Efra Jama. I am the owner and founder of Jannah Fitwear.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Amani Ahmed. I'm the owner of Opon Logistics and East African Business Association.
We're all a little technically deficient here. Well, I want to kind of start off with, so I don't know if you guys heard, so Ebian has Faceless Pro, which is an app, and I'll let her get into more details about it, but it's really cool. Ifra has Jannah Fitwear, which is a modest clothing line for athletic wear for Muslim women. And then Amani is the founder of East African Business Association, and she has an amazing background in logistics. And I'll let her go into detail about her phenomenal association. But I want to kind of, we'll start with you, Amani. I want you to tell me, you know, what East African Business Association is. How do you support small businesses in the community?
One mic works way better. First, my background has been logistics, so that's where I'm an expert in. 10 years in the field, came from Boeing, Columbia Sportswear. Really want to bring that back to the community. I have a bachelor's in logistics as well. So, you know, being a woman in trucking, you can only imagine how that could be, but it's been really passionate, and you know, to get to boss around some of these men sometimes.
Yeah.
It's fun. And then obviously this year, a lot of you guys seen my face with the East African Business Association, and it aligns so well with what we're doing here today, right? Is really promoting these East African businesses who bring back so much to our community, and have them, you know, have a place where they can come, have a voice, somebody to fight for them, a place where they can feel like they can get resources if they want to start a business. The pathway has been really amazing for the last few months. We've done so much work, and I look forward to show those results. And I think the people that are been really supportive with us, seen it, and I hope that a lot of us can come together and make this big. This is not about me. This is going back to the community.
Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate that. Let's give a round of applause. Ifrah, tell us about Jenna Fitwear. I know I said a little bit about what it is, but tell us about, exactly, like how you started it and why you started it.
All right. So I run a small company called Jenna Fitwear here in the Twin Cities. We are about 4 months. We launched about 4 months ago. And the reason why we started was my daughter hit 9th grade 2 years ago.
I'm so sorry.
Can you hear me?
Your daughter hit 9th grade?
Yes.
You look like you were in 9th grade last year.
I wish. So as a 9th grader, as a 16-year-old young woman who grew up in the state, she wanted to join the track team. And it took me weeks and weeks to find her something fashionable, something that's modest, something she felt comfortable in, and something that was functional, that her coach can accept. And so weeks later, I complained to one of my friends, and I was telling her how I couldn't find anything in the market, and she was like, well, why don't you do something about it? And I kind of laughed it off, right? I am not a businesswoman. I've always worked in. A couple of months later, the idea kept circulating, and we came up with Jenna Fitwear, where we want to motivate young girls. We want to motivate women. We want individuals to stay active. So Muslim women, modest-minded women, to be able to have access to a modest activewear that is practical, that's fashionable, that is functional, and that meets their needs. One of the things, I moved to Minnesota about 4 years ago, and I would notice whenever I go to certain places, there were always pictures of batis, and you know what bati is, right? So the clothing that we all wear. And they would say, you can't come in here whenever you go to the gym, you avoid certain machineries because there's people around. I would avoid certain gyms because people would look at you when you go in with items that do not look like what's on the market. So I really wanted to create a line that was inclusive, that empowered, comfortable, and I feel beautiful.
Community, joining sports was so hard because of what you have to wear. So finding something, so that's really great that you were able to, come up with that for us. So thank you. Evian, Faceless Pro. We have a lady in tech here today. Really excited for you guys to hear about Faceless Pro and.
So I started Faceless Pro because this one too. I'm good.
Okay. Sorry, it's so hard doing all the mics.
So I started Faceless Pro because I was out looking for work, and I applied to 24 jobs. Only 3 of them got back to me, so I knew something was wrong with that. So what I did is I changed my name to Abby Tucker. I reapplied to those same jobs, and every single one of them wanted to interview me. So I knew that there was discrimination, unconscious bias, and racism going on. And that's why I started Faceless Pro. So Faceless Pro is a revolutionary job board that levels the playing field for candidates. We mask all personal information.
That's amazing. Thank you guys. And I know that's something we definitely need in our community because I can't tell you how many times I got rejected for a job when people saw Yusra Mahmoud. So, so that's really helpful. I kind of want to know, and you guys touched a little bit based on this, but obviously we have the best of all worlds. We're black, we're Muslim, we're women. So that is itself is a challenge in the community. Tell us some of the challenges that you faced in your industry. Let's start with you, Ifrah.
I'm an immigrant. There's a lot of resources that, one, I didn't tap into, I didn't know about, and 2, they just didn't exist in certain spaces. So when we started Jenna Fitwear, we had all these great ideas, right? We had these nice designs, we had the looks, we had the colors, we had different sizes. And when we looked at the funds that we had available, there's no way we would make this vision come true, right? So then as Muslims, obviously, even though I have an excellent credit score, I can't walk into a conventional bank and get a loan. with the interest. And, so access to capital was a huge one for us. Explaining myself and really teaching, educating people on why this is important in our community. Two, whenever I reached to schools or I would talk to organizations that serve young Muslim or modest-minded women, because that's something I learned. We will let you know. Or organizations will say, well, we have the boys playing, but our girls really don't participate. They just kind of sit and have conversations. And so it's really to change the society perception of what girls look like and giving them that tool in order to really participate. So that was another challenge itself. And then the third challenge, of course, is a competitive. You don't have, your brand is brand new, you're starting off. So those are some of the few that I can highlight.
Yeah, and those are really good examples. I can only imagine, especially being in athletic wear, super challenging. You know, Nike, Adidas, and all these like bigger like brand wears. So it's annoying. Amani, I'm sure you've also faced many challenges, not only in your industry and logistics dealing with men, cough, cough, but also just working with other small businesses and trying to help them get connected with resources. I'm really interested.
It's really important, first of all, to embrace, being a Muslim woman first, right? Like accepting that I'm a Muslim woman first, I'm Somali next, and then I'm American third. And so I'd say this every time that, you just gotta know that we are in a country that we have to kind of blend in, and we can't always make everything fit us, right? So I think there's this entitlement of like, I live in this country, they need to change this and this and this. And so I think just kind of being acceptance of that, I think gives you a really head start if you're in the journey of entrepreneurship, is finding your identity and then working around that, right? And I think for me has been this whole path of entrepreneurship has been really just utilizing the resources that are available and really having the people to guide me through that. And I think when you have a support system and you have people that really believe in you, you will find a way, I could see Jenna being a Nike one day. And so I think really having that mindset is really where it starts. So I think from a culture perspective, I don't take it as a challenge. I take it as hey, I'm different and you gotta learn from me. Let me teach you about my community. Let me teach you about who we are as a community, instead of, hey, let me blend in with you. So with the East African Business Association, I'm fighting for the East African businesses to be recognized, to show the value, to show these beautiful kind of women that are really thriving, that are kicking butt every single day, right? And so I think my mindset shifted, and I think it's a path of, anybody that wants to go into entrepreneurship is find your identity and don't lose it for anything.
Thank you so much. Ebian, you kind of talked about the whole reason you started Faceless Pro was because of a challenge that you were facing. But I want to hear, dive in about now what are some challenges that you are facing with the adoption of Faceless Pro and how you are also trying to, use your own resources to touch base with the community.
So a woman in the tech world, on top of that, I'm Black and I'm Somali. So it is the hardest thing to do in a startup world because it's dominated by men, right? So raising capital is the biggest struggle that I'm having right now. By the way, my business has existed for 3 years now, and I still can't raise capital.
Well,
thank you.
Congrats for having 3 years.
Yeah. Thanks to my mom, right?
Yeah.
The second thing is that when I go to these places, being a Black woman, it's you're overlooked constantly, what is your business? Doesn't this exist already? These are the questions that I'm constantly getting. So breaking into that barrier, one of the things that that actually worked for me was getting into Beta, which is a nonprofit accelerator. Now, people know about my company, and I'm actually recognized, like, hey, your face is pro, right? But one of the challenges that I've had is raising capital, getting companies to work with me, because I can definitely get the candidates, right? So those are the two challenges that I've had so far. So if you guys know anyone, tell them to call me. Oh, and I'm looking for a co-founder if you guys are interested.
Thank you. So my next question is, and this is such an important question, how can we create more supportive or a more supportive, inclusive environment for women entrepreneurs, especially? You know, we already face the challenges of all of the things that we, you know, have, discrimination, you know, sexism, racism, all of that stuff. So as like women who are already in this field that are continuing to rise, what are some things that, you know, we could do to support other women who don't know where to start, how we can be more inclusive for them, how they can shadow us? I'd love to hear. So Ebian, I'm actually going to start back with you. How can we create more supportive, inclusive ways for women who want to join the entrepreneur field?
For me, okay, so I was told to go. I was told to go to this company. I'm not going to mention the name, and that I was going to get the resources I needed, the funding that I needed. Right? I've done that. Went through the program, did 4 months of my time, and I walked away with nothing. So I think when we are told, like, hey, go here, this is the place you're going to find resources, I think those resources need to exist and they need to be there, because I am so tired of being like giving excuses, getting the runaround from everyone else. So I honestly think we do need to start a company, and whoever else that's interested, let me know, that's honest, that actually supports women, because I don't see that happening. Maybe you guys experienced it than I did, but I don't think it exists. Like, we are told that, hey, you know, the government is doing this for you. But I'm not going to get into that. But anywho, I just feel like I'm getting the runaround. So the resources does not exist, and it's kind of pissing me off. So here you go.
I hear you, girl.
Yeah.
We do need that. How about you, ladies? Either one of you can grab the mic and start.
All right, so with resources.
This fly is trying to like join the panel. She's a fierce woman.
Oh my God. I was fortunate enough that with my network, I was connected to SBDC right away. I took advantage of their resources, incredible young men who helped me with business plan, researching, really understanding what am I getting into. The other part that I would say would really help, I think we talked about it, is the capital, right? That is a frustration. We don't come from, you know, money, all right? Most of us are first generation immigrants. Most of us have a full-time job, so this is something we're working and passionate about. And I hear you, Ebian, on that. I was told about nonprofit organizations that, you know, you would go through the process, take 6-week classes, which is in the middle of the day when I have work, and then there's a 50% chance that you would get a zero interest loan, right? That's all I wanted, was a zero interest loan. And I kind of looked at it. I looked at the class description, and they kind of teach you how to get an EIN number. And I was like, well, I know all these things. Couldn't I just apply? And it was no. You have to put in the time. And so I was like, so that would be really helpful if we can have access or procurement opportunities for us to really compete for grants, or just training, training that are help really business-led women. I think that would be very, very helpful in our community. But I think a lot of us is, networking. What does that look like? I was blessed to have a really good network. I took advantage of the network that I have. If I didn't know the answer, one of my friends knew somebody who knew the answer. It didn't come with checks, but it came with so much more, right? Whether it came with marketing, came with business writing, came with online help, came with what fabrics look like, where do I need to focus more on? And so those resources are there. I'm all about one-stop shop, right? If I can just go to one person and get everything that I need, that would be really nice. But then, I kind of look at it and I say, well, those are the challenges I needed to go through to really understand my business, to really understand. There are days when I'm really, really frustrated, and there are days when I'm really, really happy. And that is just the emotional you kind of go through, but it makes it worth it. It's really worth it. So yeah, I would say, I think with all of my friends here, capital is a big issue.
I would say for, the supportive of women, right? Back to you, Yusra, is to really understand the path of entrepreneurship can get really, really lonely, right? And your dreams that you have are not going to be accepted from even your closest people. And you're going to learn that the pathway of entrepreneurship, especially as a woman in our community, is like, it's a joke. Like, who do you think you are? You're in tech? Come on, just go and do something else, right? And that's the things that we face as women every single day, is to prove ourselves to even first before we even get to start, right? So I would say to have a group of people that are on the same pathway as you, that can help you and support you, I think is critical in that journey. And then also understanding that, it takes a long time. And don't give up, because your time will come. And most successful people in this world have failed many, many times before they got that break. And so a lot of not giving up, and really just when a woman has something that she's launching, supporting, go and support, because you would want them to support you. But I mean, I would just say it's really tough out there, but as a woman, just support each other, change your mindset, change your way of thinking, change everything, because the path of entrepreneurship is not for everyone, and that's okay.
Absolutely, and you're right about that. The path of entrepreneurship isn't for everyone, and like you said, that's okay. So obviously we're highlighting East African women, and as East African women, we face cultural barriers every single day. So how do you think that we can overcome those, culture barriers, and what are some of the normality that we can, do when we are crossing those obstacles? We'll start with you, Amani.
First of all, we, as a Somali woman, I think we are the most complicated creatures. We like to make things harder than they are. But I think, again, I'm going to go back to embracing. I'm very proud Somali woman, and I remember during my pathway of just career coming, working for maybe a Boeing, where there's mostly men dominant, older guys, to walk in there with a scarf or this. I think being just content of who you are will shine when you walk through a room. Because if you're not secure of who the woman you are, and you're not proud to represent your culture, and you're not proud to represent your religion, people feel it when you walk into the room. People will notice, you're not even secure. Why should I invest in you? You're not even secure of who you are as a woman. Why would I risk on you? So when you walk in that says, I'm Somali I'm Muslim first, I'm Somali first, and I will not, there's barriers I will never cross to get success, right? Because I think that's where we face a lot of, as women is, hey, you want to move this, you're going to have to sell your soul to the devil, otherwise you're not going to be able to make it. So be able to know, where is my line drawn, for example, for me being in logistics, we don't haul anything that has alcohol. I don't care how much you pay me, I will not haul alcohol, and I will not put my drivers into that position. But if I'm about success and I'm money driven, I might compromise my culture and my religion. So I think as women, we are usually, hey, she's weak, let me get her in. I can probably convince her by giving her success. So I think as a woman, stand your ground that you will not sell yourself, and that you will work as hard as any man in that room, and you deserve that position just as much as he is, and that you will not settle. I think that's where I think you will always continuously, and you will always live with Allah's help, inshallah.
All right. Tell us about some, how we can face those cultural barriers and how you're able to overcome that in a woman-led business.
Absolutely. So with gender fitwear, we believe that one should never compromise their faith and values. And that was what our business is really based on, that women should not compromise their faith and value in order to really stay and have an active lifestyle. And so the challenges, or I don't call them challenges, I call them opportunities, is that, a lot of people would say, well, girls don't do this. They don't really need this. Do you really need, it was a lot of, is it really worth for you to start a whole company in addressing those gaps? And for me, it was really educating the community around me and having the opportunity to really say, yes, we do need it. Yes, we need to include young ladies. Yes, we need to engage mothers. Yes, we need to engage fathers. Yes, we need to engage. And so one of the things that really gets me happy nowadays is I've been getting orders from men who are ordering for their wives and for their daughters. I think that our last 3 orders were for men. And that gets me excited because that means a lot of our community now is recognizing, yes, one needs to be active and one needs to be healthy. They need to be fashionable, and they must, modest activewear is the way. The other piece is that you have to know yourself, right? You have to know yourself. And if you know yourself, you're able to withstand those challenges and those obstacles. And I don't get offended when people ask me questions, whether it's my faith, whether it's my culture. I am proud Muslim woman. I am Somali. The older I get, the more I appreciate Bris and Basto, the more I appreciate my Bati. And so ask me about it. Don't assume, come to me, ask me. So when I work with businesses and I go to, certain gyms and I tell them, well, instead of putting signs on what not to wear, can we give options, right? That is just another barrier. That's a culture mindset that's there. It's, women, either you're gonna go to an active store and go purchase a Nike product, or you just can't go in. And no, there is a gap there, and that's why we're here. So it's just, we're spending a lot of time educating, creating awareness, really making sure that we are a resource. We are here to support. Yes. There's a lot, but it's just the mindset, and when something is new, people will always question. And I would be scared for my business if people didn't have those reservation about the business. I would be scared if people didn't ask questions like that. So I'm appreciative.
For me, it's different. Being Somali, Muslim, okay, I look more black, right? But being Somali in the tech world, everyone constantly questions me like, how? How are you gonna make this happen? You need a co-founder and he has to be white. I constantly hear that, by the way. Or you need to get a white co-founder in order for you to raise money. That's another thing I get constantly. But the one thing I know is that my product, I can sell it better than everyone else. I know who I am, I know what my company is, and I know why I founded. So telling my story is the most important thing that I can, looking for work, not being able to find it, changing my name to Abby Tucker, reapplying to those same jobs, those were the barriers I'm trying to break, trying to get rid of the unconscious bias, racism, and discrimination in the workforce. So again, it's a man's world. It's a white man's world, no offense to anyone. And all the people that I know, all the guys that I know that are white, they've already raised money, over $1 million so far. I, on the other hand, am still here, and that's gonna continue. So again, it's just, the tech world is different than what you're experiencing and what you're going through. And we just got to continue going and be persistent, because I think that's what pays off at the end of the day. So, thank you.
All right, so this is going to be Okay, now it's on. This is going to be our last question. It's our two-part question, and then after that we're going to continue with the resource fair, and then everybody can come up to these wonderful ladies and ask them your own questions. But I wanted to talk about mentorship. How important do you think the role mentorship plays in, woman entrepreneurship? And then the second piece to the question is, what piece of advice do you have to anybody who's either listening or watching this, or just in general, someone were to come up to you and be like, hey, I want to start a business, or whatever the case is, what is a piece of advice that you have to help them get started? And that's your role as mentorship. We can start with you.
I will go first because I will forget the second part. A piece of advice. I had a mentor, our previous manager, and whenever I wanted to apply for a job within the county, I would ask him, one-on-ones, I would say, what do you think about this? And he would say, are you going to apply? And I would say, probably not. And he said, why? And it was always why. And one of the things that stuck with me, he said, is don't say no to yourself. You have the whole world telling you no all the time. So don't be the one person who tells themselves no. Give yourself permission to apply, give yourself permission to fail, and look at it as a learning process. What's the worst that can happen? You're going to go through the interview process, you're not going to get it, but you went through an interview process. You're prepared now for the next position. And so that is something I carry in my heart for the last 5 years. So my advice comes from that. Don't say no to yourself is what I would tell people. It is hard. If you're passionate about it and if you're not in it for the money, it's not going to be hard. It's going to be hard if you're in it for, if you're in it for quick money or something else besides just the passion, you're going to get tired. I work 8 hours and then I would put the kids to sleep, and then I would go on a Zoom call till like midnight. And that's because I was excited about the colors. I was excited about the material. I was excited about the focus group and what the outcomes were. I was excited about the marketing piece. I was excited about each piece and each process and each phase of that, of my business. And so it is, I think you have to kind of look at the...
First, I want to thank you, sir, for these questions and bringing these amazing women. Been growing because of mentorship, and I've never applied for a position in my life. It's always about the connections I've built and roles. And so I think, and there's going to be people that have done it after you. So you can cut your career in half by having the right people with you. And so I think as women, we definitely need to support each other more, because I don't think we do a good job on that. I think the men are more connected, and they will go and above and beyond for each other. I think us women struggle because we are just trying to fight ourselves on a daily basis, right? As mothers, as sisters and sis, there's in our community is like we're the responsible one. Like we could have 10 brothers. Understand that the pathway of entrepreneurship is very, very lonely, and it's very painful. And anything in life that success is always going to be harder than you expect it to be, because anything you get easily most likely would leave you easily. So don't give up, dream big, and be careful on who you surround yourself with, because they could be dream killers, I call them, because you could be so passionate about something and go consult with the wrong person, and that will take you 2 steps backwards. So be really mindful of who you surround yourself with. Be mindful of your energy, mindful of you. For me, the entrepreneurship pathway I found myself in the process. I found who Amani is. I found who I stand for. I have boundaries that I never used to have before. So even it might be hard, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm still not even close of where I want to be. And I don't think, the education part ever ends, right? But just start somewhere, have goals, and even if you take 1 step towards your goal, that's a step that is going to get you there closer. And don't give yourself a pat on the back sometimes, like, hey, you made it this far. You must be doing something good, right? And so support each other. Read a lot of books. I have this thing that I have to read at least 20 pages a day, no matter what I do. There's a lot of resources online. And don't copy each other. Please, girls, stop copying each other. Find your path. Because when you find yourself, you become so much more, are not the same. So we all have better skills. We're better. I get these men out of these seats,
So, two things you guys said. Being a founder is lonely. I totally agree. Because you are building something that no one else is, one. Two, for me, what I'm building is in my head, so explaining it to people is kind of hard, So it's really lonely. Second thing is that having a mentorship. For me, my mentor, it's like, I have a lot of them, by the way. I don't have one. I go to one if I want to talk about capital. I go to one if I want to talk about, getting my company off the ground, finding a co-founder. So I have multiple or different mentors for that. The other thing about networking is that financial projections, I can help you with that. You want a logo? I know where to get it. So I have all this information, and networking would be amazing because I would love to share the information that I know, right? Networking is one thing we need to do, I believe, as women, because we don't do that. And helping one another is truly a powerful thing, and we don't do that. Like you said, Beirut told me one thing. I don't know if I should call him out on it. She said that men go in and out of Jamal Usman's office, but we women don't do that. I will be knocking at your door as of next week, so be prepared. So aside from that, I agree, we need to network and have different mentors for whatever you're doing. And let's support each other, because at the end of the day, we have to. So, yeah. I'm coming for you. You're right. We're all going to Councilmember Jamal's office, Ward 6. No matter what ward you come, go to his office. Thank you. Keep turning this off on accident, sorry. And I want to thank everybody who came and listened. I want to thank the city of Minneapolis. I want to thank Councilmember Jamal Osman, whose office we're all taking a field trip to, and Ward 6. And I want to thank just the community overall in general. I guess my last piece of advice to you all, men and women, is what we said in the beginning is let's continue to support each other. Let's not make this a one-day thing. As Amani was saying, we're not all the same, but we can learn from each other. There's so much that we can learn, and I've learned a lot today you've never done before. If you want to start a business and you're passionate about it and you just don't know how to do it, just put one rooms. I say this so much. Stop complaining about, failing or something not working out. If you are not yourself going to certain rooms and conversations and using the resources that are available, just go out there.
A women's panel.
Period.
So I want to know, how many people did you have to kick out their office to say, no, we're doing a women's panel?
I will say this, it was all Beirut.
Oh yeah, Beirut was definitely
yes. Beirut couldn't be here today. She is traveling, but that is Councilmember Jamal's right hand, and she said she put her foot on the ground. She said we recognize men all the time. She was like, we need to highlight our women because our women are honestly the ones that are kicking ass in the Twin Cities.
But he didn't have to agree.
Yeah.
He didn't have to agree.
And he didn't have to agree.
He didn't have to agree.
But he allowed it because you know what? I mean, he has an East African wife.
Yes.
He has East African
daughter.
Exactly. So this is important. So we're not just gonna, we're messing
so we want to thank
We do want to thank him a lot. But we are gonna step on that a little bit.
But I want to thank Jamal for letting us do this. You guys, did it turn off?
I think you just have to press it.
Yeah. So.
I'll press the button.
Anyways, I can speak loud. Just support Jamal. Make sure that you guys all know his election is coming up. He's been doing a really good job. I mean, just knowing him for the last year, I have never called Jamal and he's never said no to me. And so for me as a woman, I'm going to support him. All the ladies support him. Everyone support him. There's a big election coming up. Let's all stand up for our brother. Because if Jamal leaves us, we all die, guys. So let's make sure that he comes back.
No, absolutely. And also hold your council members accountable. That is something else I want to do. You know, they're all doing great jobs, but it's our job to hold them accountable. So please, you know, make sure that we do that. So speaking of resources and information, all of our resources, we have amazing over 15 tables today that have information that support our community and small businesses. So we're going to take this next 2 hours from 4 to 6. Please stop at each table and collect this information, and don't forget to come by these ladies and network with them. Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jamal.
Maybe can take all the credits, but I say this year. Thank you. Like, that was amazing, though. That was really educational to me. I imagine.
Thank you. Sorry, I kept forgetting.
Thank you.
I know. Thank you, ladies. Great job.
You ready?
Oh, look at us matching in the green. Thank you for coming.
do soup OROMIA soup do حيس.
No. Hi Jamal, how are you? We met again.
Yes.
How do you see the resource fair?
It's amazing. First of all, thank you, OROMIA11. You're always front of the community, and this event is amazing. For us, City of Minneapolis, this is a Black Business Week. It happens every July, and we try to highlight how important it is for Black businesses in here. This year, the theme, of course, is East African, especially East African women, business owners. And as you can see the panels, it's been amazing. We want to hear their success. We want to see one of the challenges we are. And also another event that's starting right now is Community Resource Fair. If you're a small business owner and let's say you want a loan or you want some kind of licensing or some questions about anything, you can come and hear. We try to bring the city office right here for the community. And this is our third annual. You guys have been there. So thank you.
Well, why do you guys decided to empower the woman?
Well, first of all, as you see it, it's always men that's taking the lead. But I think women are the backbone of the community. As you know, our culture, our people, without women, we could not survive. And we have a wonderful, young, educated women who are thriving a lot of businesses, have a lot of businesses. And we want to put them up front and really recognize and honor them this year. So it's an honor to have them, to listen to them, and that's why we did it.
Is the door open for all women and people of colors? And what is your message for those who are out there?
Those are out there, City of Minneapolis, especially if you live in, there's a lot of resource for small businesses. If you want to partner with the city, if you want to have questions or trying to figure out a technical issue, we put a lot of resource through the city. So there's always help. As you mentioned, the ladies discussed too, there's always a way to network. So you're not alone. And last year when we did this businesses, we talked about how could the East African businesses go on the mainstream. You know, we buy our own. We go to Oromo shops, we buy Oromo shops. You know, we go to Somali, we buy Somali shops. But how can we make it more in the mainstream where like people like Afro-Deli kind of took to the next level? How can our businesses like that, Chevelle, how can they be like that and have...
And last question.
Yes.
We are still on the process of getting out of COVID.
Yes.
Do you have any message for the public?
Well, the things are becoming more online right now. I think as I work downtown, you see less people there, but that doesn't mean people are not working. Our community is already wonderful. We got to highlight the best of the best. We have, very successful businesses. We've been here less than 30 years. East African community, and we have thriven. And as a council member, it's a good example of that. So I would say continue educating our young and also continue empowering our businesses and sticking together. And I think we will lead this country in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, that was wonderful. You guys, your life was beautiful. I watched it.
Oh, okay.
I watched it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you?
Good. We met again on Minneapolis City
Resource Fair.
Yes.
Who sponsored the program?
This was a collaboration between the City of Minneapolis small business team, neighborhood and community relations, as well as our community partners, and Ward 6 part here was our East African focused. Yep.
What is the core goal of this event?
The vision for this event today here was to amplify our women, and also the resource fair that we have, so that people could know how to get technical assistance and different resources that county and city and community is offering for those people who are business owners, really focused on, the business owners.
Yeah, Minneapolis City focused on, empowering women to join the business. What is your message on that?
Yes, absolutely. We need more women to be business owners. We are business owners. Especially our East African community, something like this, bringing community together, really does help us to understand, a lot of women are doing a lot of amazing work.
How does someone has to balance between the cultures, faith, and the businesses?
Well, that's an individual question, Abdul. Everybody has their own way of balancing that work, life, religion. But as you know, a lot of our East Africans, we want to be able to make sure that what we are earning as Muslims first, for me, is halal, and then I'm able to really, OROMIA11, I really appreciate the contributions that you all are making to the community, always showing up to the community events. I was able to build a relationship with you through our monthly programming, and here you are again. You were also at our Community Connections Conference. You all are everywhere, and that's what we need to see. Community media doing community engagement right here, meeting people where they're at. So you guys, amazing, yes. And COVID too. You guys were out there really getting the messaging out on COVID. OROMIA11, you are doing it, and thank you so much.
Egaan kabajamtoota daawwattoota OROMIA11 sagantaan Stadium Minneapolis qopheessaa jiru gama garanaatti akkuma argaa jirtan resource fair namoonni qabeenyi Minneapolis qopheesse maal fakkaataa maal faata asitti qophaa'eetiin jira United States Representative hedduutu gama kanaan jira namoonni waa'ee garagaraa arguu barbaadan gamanumaan dhufuu dandeettanii arguu dandeettu gama kennaan nuti nagaa isinitti dhaammachuudhaaf deemnaa sagantaan hawaasaa ta'uu danda'u qaba dhaamsa kenna namoonni waa'ee manaa irratti dhaamsa barumsa barbaachisu waan Minneapolis yookiin bulchitu kutaan bulchiinsa garagaraa godhaa jiru hawaasni kenna hordoffiidhaan dhimma manaa haa ta'u dhimma barnootaa haa ta'u dhimma faayidaalee garagaraa argachuu haa taatu tokkoon tokkotti jala deemeetiin irraa barachuu qaba waan jedhu keessattuu mata dureen hardhaan tana irratti asitti mariin geggeeffamaa ture waa'ee dubartootaati dubartoonni akkamitti daldala garagaraa keessatti hirmaatanii faayidaa yookiin horii horachuu danda'an jireenya isaanii hoo akkamitti jijjiiruu danda'an waan jedhu paanaaliin yookiin mariin geggeeffamaa ture jechuudha namoonni kennas kanneen barumsa garagaraa biyya kanatti qabdan biizinasa keessatti involve godhu. Did you see the panel?
The what? The panel? It was very good. It was very informative. I get to learn different businesses that we have in the East African community. The flyers everywhere. Yeah, it was really good, very informative. I think we helped a lot in the community, or at least gave them enough information where, they can be like, okay, yeah, that's the person I need to talk to in case they want to do something.
What is your message for someone like any woman who has the gut to start a business?
You have to be persistent. I started multiple companies, and when it got really hard, I quit. So the one lesson that I would say to you is that you have to keep going. Do not give up, because when you do, then you fail. They say there's a lot of opportunities for black women, East African women, but the truth is there isn't, or at least from my perspective. I've struggled to, I've talked about it earlier, raising capital, right? They sent me somewhere where they were like, this is the place you're going to get something, but I didn't get anything. The second thing is that they say that there's a lot of opportunities where, you know, you can get help, or for me, like contracts with the state or the city, and I haven't been able to do that. And when I actually called the city, they told me that they were working with someone else. So giving us more opportunity, at least people that live in the state, would be amazing.
So this is going to be my last question. How do you define, success for women?
How do I define?
Success.
For me, success is, one, getting a company off the ground, two, persisting, keep going, and three, growing it, because at the end of the day, it's your company. For me, now I can go to tech events, and people will recognize me because I'm one of those that won't give up or won't stop. So you have to be that in order for you to succeed in life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You understand that? I will hold the mic.
Okay.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How did you get the panel today?
So I am, my name is Efra Jama, and I own I don't think it's on. Oh, it is? Oh, my name is Efra Jama, and I own a modest activewear company. We launched about 4 months ago. So Osman reached out to me on Instagram to talk about why modest activewear is important in the Muslim community, especially for our Muslim women to be able to take part in activities such as sports, whether it's walking, going to the gym, just making sure that we have access to activewear.
From your experience in the business as a woman, what are the opportunities out there for a Muslim woman or for a woman of color?
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest opportunities that has helped me is having network. People who are able to connect you to other people. Tap into your friends. Go out to events like this where you can meet other people. SPDC, the state of Minnesota, has a program called the SPDC that really helps you understand the business aspect, will help you from, they're kind of like the driver. Actually, you'll be the driver. They're kind of like the GPS. They kind of help you how to go from one step to the other. They help with marketing, business plan writing, projections. So really, it's tap into what's available in the community, and don't do it alone. Don't do it alone. Always ask questions.
So as a businesswoman, how do you define success?
Oh man, I think for me, success, it depends on each other, in each person, and what that means to them. For me, success means that I'm able to see somebody wearing modest activewear that would potentially avoid going to the gym, and now they're purchasing, and now they're being active, and now they're going to spaces that usually they would not go into. For me, that is success. So anytime I see somebody working out and looking fashionable and having modest activewear, it makes me happy, and for me, that is success.
So let me ask you, this is going to be my last question. What is your message for the woman who has got to start a business but they don't know how to start it?
I would say just go for it. I really would say go for it. Do the research. Know that it's hard, but go for it.
So do you have anything to say about COVID?
Oh man, COVID was a blessing in disguise, and obviously we've learned a lot of lessons through COVID. We learned what, socializing was different. A lot of people start going to the gym because they couldn't go do anything else. So for me, COVID was actually a success. It was beneficial to my business.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Egaan kabajamtoota daawwattoota keenya sagantaan hawaasummaadhaa kan bulchiinsa magaalaa Minneapolis isin biraan gahaa turre kana fakkaata. Namoonni biizinasa yookiin daldala garaagaraa dalagachuu barbaadan kanneen Minneapolis keessa jiraatan carraa argame hundatti akka fayyadamtan isiniin jenna. Gama fayyaatiin, gama hawaasummaatiin, gama barnootaatiin dhaabbilee garaagaraa keessatti daldala dalaguu gosoota daldalaa hunda keessatti hirmaachuu yoo barbaadan irra deddeebitanii hulaaquu yookiin dhadhahuudha qabdanii dhaamsa jedhu isiniif dabarsina. Gama keenyaan nagaatti isiniin jenna. Sagantaa hawaasummaa biraatiin hanga walitti deebinuuf nagaan nuuf jiraadha.